So I would like to ask you about your decision to unleash Khan's dark blizzard of misinformation on Londoners about your performance tackling fare evasion. So on Wednesday, you told Londoners you're cracking down on fare evasion and, quote, new figures show that it's working. But that's not true. Your plan was to get fare evasion down to 1% by last year, but it was more than 3 times that. And your plan failed, and you never told anyone that. You never even mentioned the plan again. Instead, you relaxed the target to 1.5%, and you pushed the deadline back 6%, and then you announced it as a bold new plan to tackle fare evasion. But now, after a full year of that bold new plan, fare evasion is 3.5%. But it was also 3.5% the year before. It made no difference, despite all of the hard work of those frontline staff who put themselves in danger often to deal with this. So on Wednesday, when you decided to tell Londoners new figures show that it's working, that wasn't true, was it?
Chair, again, I've not got notice of the question, so I've not got the information in front of me. I'm more than happy to provide the member with the information he seeks.
This is an announcement that you made on Wednesday, and you've forgotten everything about it already, have you?
Chair, I'm more than happy to answer questions if I'm given notice of. But I'll appreciate I answer 100 questions during this question time. The question under the member's name wasn't on this, but I'm more than happy to find the information and write back to him.
So one of the things you've announced on fare evasion is that you increased the fine to £100 because you said that it would be more of a deterrent. Do you know what percentage of the fines were actually paid last year?
Sure, TfL does, and I'm more than happy to provide the information from TfL.
So it's 46%. Do you think it's much of a deterrent when most of the fines issued are not paid?
Chair, again, I've not got the information, so we're talking at cross purposes, but I'm more than happy to...
So the information I'm asking for is your opinion, and I assume you have that. Do you think, in your opinion, your crackdown on fare evasion, your higher fine that will act as a disincentive of £100, most of them are not being paid? The people who travel on the tube not paying then just don't pay the fine either. Only 46% of them are collected. I mean, that's not really a deterrent, is it?
According to the member's own figures, a short while ago, he said prosecutions had increased and the numbers of revenues raised had increased, and indeed the numbers of those not paying had gone down. So one would expect from those numbers that it seems to be working.
So you're talking about prosecutions. What this week's announcement was that there were 14,406 convictions, which in effect are the same as prosecutions, because about 96% of them of prosecutions turn into convictions for this. If you look at just before the pandemic, it was nearly double that, 29,113. So it's basically halved since before the pandemic. Since this is something you've been looking at closely and that you're very engaged in and you're bringing to bear all of this strong enforcement, were you aware that prosecutions or convictions had halved since the last year before the pandemic? Is that something you think is a success? Does that sound like new figures showing that it's working, to use your words?
Well, Chair, we do know we're seeking to reduce fare evasion from what it was to a target of 1.5 within 5 years. I'm also aware that's far less than it is in other parts of the country and other parts of the globe. Our target is to get to 1.5% within 5 years. It was 3.9% last year, 3.5% this year, so the trajectory is in the right direction.
That's not correct. It was 3.5% last year and it was 3.5% the year before. Those figures are on TfL's website. What concerns me is obviously your excuse for refusing to engage on the fact of your failure this morning is that you haven't been briefed. But the press release that went out on Wednesday, that obviously had research that went into it. It claimed, and your tweet that you put out, I'm sure you typed them personally, said new figures show that the plan is working. For some reason, TfL did not include, and you did not include in your information, that fare evasion had gone from 3.5% the year before to 3.5% this year. That looks like a deliberate omission to try and bamboozle Londoners with this dark blizzard of misinformation you tell Londoners they should be worried about. You omitted that figure because you knew that it undermined your headline claim that it was working, didn't you?
Chair, I'm more than happy to answer questions at Mayor's question time. There's no surprise here. If colleagues make a note of the question, they want information for, I can get a briefing. I've not got information the member asked for. I can't help him.
So your contention is that a week and a half ago I should have submitted a question about a press release that only came out 2 days ago. Okay, interesting. Let me wrap up, because it's pretty obvious that you know that your plan isn't working and hasn't worked. And despite your claims, I think you're pretty sure that the numbers I'm quoting are correct, because they are. My concern is we all agree that fare evasion is a problem. And we have all of these people who are, frankly, we met some of them at the Transport Committee, doing a very difficult and sometimes physically risky job on the front line. They deserve leadership from the top that is honest about what is happening and is clear about how it is going to be fixed. And my concern is, instead of doing that, what we have is Khan's dark blizzard of misinformation. And when you're warning Londoners about that, I hope you're looking in the mirror.
Chair, I'm pleased to have found a stat, which is the number of penalty fares issued has risen by 9% in the past year. This year, prosecutions have increased again to 14,406, leading to court awards rising by a quarter to 2.6 million. TfL figures also show that it raised £5.4 million in revenue from penalty fare notices, a jump of 142% on 24-25. Overall, 3.3 million bus passengers had cards checked, and TfL previously said it spent nearly £22 million cracking down on fare dodging across the network, and they'll continue to do so.
This is the blizzard of misinformation that makes it sound like it's working, and we know it hasn't. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Chair.